FaceTime me out the blue. Don't
I'm tripping, I've been sipping, that's how I control.
Star 927.
Everybody in the streets, you like that, don't you?
Burger King has been a part of the Cayman family for decades, and we know our family needs a little extra help right now. So we're introducing the best Whopper deal on the planet. 4 Whoppers for just $10.
We are family. I got 4 big Whoppers with me. We are family. Get up, everybody, let's eat.
The Burger King Family Bundle. 4 Whoppers for just $10. Available at all Burger King drive-thrus for a limited time.
Dear students, we know that you miss your friends, being outside, and most of all, coming to school.
And we hope that you understand that everything happening right now is to keep you safe from harm.
You are our priority. You are the future. So even though this is a very tough time, we believe in you to be the leaders we know you can be.
To stay focused and doing your best work, even when no one is watching.
To be helpful and respectful to your parents and guardians at all times.
To be kind and thoughtful to everyone around
to
you.
always be thankful, even for the little things.
And most of all, to remember to keep in touch with us, because
we're here for you. Love
your teachers.
A message from the East End: Edna Moyle, John Gray, Layman E. Scott, Red Bay, T.O.Line McCoy, West End, and the Lighthouse Schools.
Do you like winning? How about winning free gas? Free gas from Rubus is as simple as follow, like, tag, and share. Say what? You heard it right. Follow, like, tag, and share. Winners selected daily on our social media platforms. Go to Rubus on Facebook and Instagram. Follow, like, tag 5 friends, and share the post. It's that simple. Daily winners drawn for $25 fuel vouchers. So that's like earning, hold on, like 1 minute of work, it's 60 minutes per an hour, $25 divided by carry the 1. No, get it. It's definitely worth your time to follow, like, tag, and share with Rubus and win.
All I do is win, no matter what.
Rubus, fuel the difference.
Live from Star 927 Studios in the center of Cayman's capital city, Georgetown. This is Straight Talk with Ruth Anna.
Good evening, everybody. You are tuned into Straight Talk, brought to you exclusively by Star 92.7 Premium Radio. I am your host, Ruth Anna Young. Always honored to be your host here on Straight Talk every Monday through Thursday from 5 to 6 p.m. right here and nowhere else other than Star 92.7. It is 5:04 on the Star 92.7 clock, and it is the 8th of June. Happy birthday to all of you celebrating a birthday or an anniversary today. Happy anniversary. Today is Monday, which means it is Medical Monday, brought to you by our partners at Healthcity Cayman Islands. For those of you who are tuned in via the Facebook feed, you can see that I am joined by three of a large team at Healthcity Cayman Islands, who I will introduce to you shortly. But we are going to speak with them for up until 6 o'clock this evening about the digestive services that are offered and will be offered at Healthcity Cayman Islands. They are expanding their suite of services, bringing in more gadgets and gizmos to serve us and offer us world-class healthcare. So excited to talk to them this afternoon. And Dr. Sunil, who you wouldn't have met before, is his first time in studio, which means we do have a Who Ya Mama Is segment this afternoon. You'll get to meet him. He arrived just before we ended up in the twilight zone of COVID-19. So you'll get the opportunity to meet him this afternoon and get to learn a little bit more about him. But you guys know the deal. Before we go any further into our conversation here on Straight Talk, we always start our time with the reading of today's Daily Bread. So today's Daily Bread is entitled Truly Humble, Truly Great, and comes from Philippians 2 verse 7 and reads, Christ Jesus made himself nothing. As the American Revolution concluded with England's improbable surrender, many politicians and military leaders maneuvered to make General George Washington a new monarch. The world watched, wondering if Washington would stick to his ideals of freedom and liberty when absolute power was within his grasp. England's King George III saw another reality, however. He was convinced that if Washington resisted the power pull and returned to his Virginia farm, he would be the greatest man in the world. The king knew that greatness evidenced in resisting the allure to power is a sign of true nobility and significance. Paul knew the same truth and encouraged us to follow Christ's humble way. Even though Jesus was in very nature God, he did not with God something to be used to his own advantage. Instead, he surrendered his power, became a servant, and humbled himself by becoming obedient to death. The one who held all power surrendered every bit of it for the sake of love. And yet, in the ultimate reversal, God exalted Christ from a criminal's cross to the highest place. Jesus, who could demand our praise or force us to be obedient, laid down his power in a breathtaking act that won our worship and devotion. Through absolute humility, Jesus demonstrated true greatness, turning the world upside down. Thanks be to God for that word today. As always, here on Straight Talk, we remind you, we encourage you to spend time each and every day focused on His word, meditating on His grace and how awesome He is. A reminder that our phone lines are open. 943-3700 is the line in studio. You can also WhatsApp me at 324-1565. You can email me at straighttalkci@gmail.com. And with that, I invite three gentlemen into the studio. I am joined this afternoon, no stranger to the studio, the Director of Business Development for Healthcity Cayman Islands, Mr. Shomari Scott, the Gastrointestinal and Bariatric Surgery Senior Consultant, Dr. Deepak, and for the first time in the Straight Talk studio, Senior Consultant Gastroenterologist, Dr. Sunil. Welcome to all of you. But of course, you know that Dr. Sunil is up first this afternoon because it is his first time here with me on Straight Talk. And so that means that everybody is dying to know, Dr. Sunil, who your mama is.
Well, thank you very much, Rutana. Thank you for the welcome. In fact, when you introduced me, I came in the twilight zone, but I didn't bring COVID here. Please don't get that idea. The listeners might think that this chap is the guy who brought to Healthcity the COVID, and no. Any which way, I landed here as a gastroenterologist senior consultant. And if you are to know me, it's like know your mama. I told you, it is my second mother. Gastroenterology is my second mother.
Okay.
Yeah, it's my foster mother. We started doing gastroenterology in '93. That is 27 years from now. '93, we started doing gastroenterology. We were into our scopies, what you call the upper GI endoscopy and the colonoscopy. I'm sure that people in the island, especially about 50 years of familiar with colonoscopy. They all come, they want demand a colonoscopy because that is the screening modality which is almost here in the community. So we started with that, and then we slowly graduate from that into what you call an advanced endoscopy. You know, when you put in an endoscope inside the GI tract, you find a lot of things. You might find an ulcer. You might find a beautiful stomach with a small polyp sitting there. You might find very interesting colon, a very interesting colon with diverticulum sitting there, polyp sitting there, sometimes a cancer sitting there. And then when you do all those things, you would like to do something. Like you might want to remove it. You want to make sure that the endoscope is being utilized for something like opening up the bowel, taking out the tumors. So that is called an advanced endoscopy, where with the endoscope you do a therapeutic procedure. That is the second level. And the third,
I want to ask you a quick question. So you've been for 27 years. You've been a medical practitioner, correct?
Yep, sure.
Can I ask, what made you decide you wanted to be a doctor?
Oh boy, there is something called destiny. In my place where I come from, India, we write the destiny of an individual. I don't know whether it's kind of horoscope. This is called a horoscope. And when you write a horoscope, some people, in my horoscope, it was written that I should become a doctor. So when you are groomed like that, as you grow up, you're groomed like that. Okay, you should become a doc. And I never knew what a doc was until you pass. You get all your injections in. When I was really a bit scared We get our immunizations, we get our vaccinations, and what we know about the doctor is that injection and the prick. And we know that in childhood, your mama or dad, what they tell you to frighten you is if you don't behave properly, you will get the injection from the doctor. So that is what the picture of a dog was in childhood. But then as you grow up, you understand the value of the services the dog provides. Then you take the social stature of a vocation. Then you understand that the doctorhood, as you might call it, it is quite high in stature also. So you're doing a service, you're getting you're rising up in your stature, as well as there is an endless learning procedure. Every day your experience is growing, endless learning procedure. Till you die, a doctor is still keeping on learning. And Rutana, do you know the exact word meaning of a doctor?
No, but I'm going to ask you to tell me since you have asked me.
Yeah, it originated from the word docere, Docere. This means to teach.
Okay.
Docere means to teach.
Okay.
So when you learn and when you become a master of something, now you start teaching. And basically, a doctor is a teacher also. So I was fascinated. By the time we finished our schooling, I was fascinated. I love teaching. I love teaching. I loved learning. So that is the two things probably. And then your parental support. That's quite important. Right? Whenever you want to become a doctor, we need a lot of support from the family. That was always there.
Got it. And the second thing I'd want to ask before I get to, because I already have questions coming in from the audience on Facebook, actually. What made you decide to take up the call to venture on over to the Cayman Islands?
Oh, I expected this question. See, right now, I'm not supposed to reveal my age. How old do I look?
We're gonna say 35. I'm not gonna.
Yeah, I'm 35. I'm probably above 50 now.
Then,
And then
then I'll be 15 only.
That's our story, and we're sticking to it.
Yeah. So at some stage, see, we have been learning a lot. We have been practicing heavily. If you are asking me, your practice grows as a doc grows. A lot of things have been happening, and then you need something called a quieter place to practice with a very good surgeon with you. There are two things. The two lucrative things is Deepak invited me over. One and two, I could have a good hospital with a very good quality work setup. And three, a beautiful island to relax in.
Well,
So,
welcome,
yeah.
and I hope in the same way that we, Healthcity has come to live up to many things that we expect from Healthcity. I hope our island lives up to all of the things that you have come here wanting and looking for. Quite a little place to practice medicine. But before I get to some of the questions directly related to your practice and the services at Healthcity, I do have some questions coming in already from the audience on Facebook. First, a special shout out to Mousy, who's tuned in from the UK. Johnny Doak, who is sending, love tuned in on Facebook. All of you who are tuned in via the live Facebook stream, thank you very much. And those of you tuned in via radio as well. A question has come in from the audience and from Laura, and she said, do the doctors suggest using apple cider vinegar for digestive issues? So either one of you who may want to answer.
Oh, it happens to be a medical question.
Okay.
See, any like vinegar, alcohol in low percentage, these things, including small spices, what we add, all these things are what you call appetizers. Appetizers means they increase the acid content of the stomach. And when the acid content goes up a bit, we would like to eat something. So digestion is a process where all the secretions of the stomach are embodied. So anything which goes in as an appetizer, like vinegar, like ginger ale, like there are a lot of you can mention a lot of things like that. They in fact help you to enjoy your food if they are in limited quantities. Now we start drinking a lot, then your appetite goes down. A lot of vinegar inside your body is not good. So these things are to be consumed in quantities enough just to stimulate your appetite.
Got it. And
Okay.
is there any type of digestive issue that would be aggravated by even like the smaller amounts that you're talking about? Is there anything that comes to mind that you would say if someone knows that they have X, then they should stay away from things like the vinegar?
If a person is on a peptic ulcer, for example, you're known to have a peptic ulcer disease. You are known to have a GI problem like sometimes IBS, irritable bowel syndrome. There are certain people, and a person who has got fairly good reflux disease, a gastroesophageal reflux. You're saying that I'm feeling the chest is burning, the food I'm taking sometimes comes up. Such people may not tolerate vinegar.
Okay. The next question is one specific to do with IBS. So Laura also asks, how does intermittent fasting affect digestive issues? Is it recommended if one has IBS?
If you look into IBS actually is the full form is irritable bowel syndrome. Simply means the bowel is irritated. And what does the person do when they are irritated? They behave badly. So IBS is actually a bad behavior of the intestine. So what happens is the intestines behaves only in two manner. It has only got two behavior. One is digestion. So it secretes a lot of enzyme. Two is propulsion. The food you eat has to be propelled through the other end. So there are two things which the GI tract does, which is disturbed in IBS. So it behaves badly. So the digestion is affected and the movement is affected. So you want to go to the toilet intermittently. You don't want to go to the toilet for 2-3 days. So these are the, and then your bowel tends to bloat. And then sometimes a reflux occurs, sometimes pain occurs. So this kind of behavior pattern where the bowel behaves badly, then we have to put a stick to it. So that sometimes is achieved by some people take, for example, some preparations which are available locally, like sometimes an antacid works, sometimes a bit of what do you call ginger ale works, sometimes a bit of medications like ranitidine works. So people have got different kinds of problems, which they may find solutions which they call home remedies. The Laura probably has the home remedy.
One thing I will just interrupt. One thing, many times is IBS the symptoms of IBS can be intermittent. That means sometimes they have exacerbation, sometimes they will be relieved of symptoms. And the most important thing or the most relevant thing is that IBS is usually is usually not a disease which causes hazard to health. Usually, the health is preserved in these people, but it is an irritation to life. So that is the main problem. So many of the people who come with irritable bowel syndrome, they come because they are irritated with these symptoms, not that their health is going down. So when we specifically ask these questions, we come to know that their health is well preserved, but they are having abdominal symptoms.
Okay, so it's more to deal with the discomfort and the as you say, the irritation that the irritation causes. That brings them into to see into a medical facility. And I know that it's not something that I guess I know from in anyone close to me, but I remember, in university, I had a classmate that was, diagnosed with IBS. I also remembered, and I have some questions about Crohn's as well. But Laura is asking, she asked the question in regards to intermittent fasting. Is intermittent fasting specifically intermittent fasting, is that something that is a good recommendation for someone that has IBS or no?
No, you can't say that intermittent fasting is a good modality for IBS. But in IBS, certain people find solace in that because when you eat, the colonic motility sometimes go up, and you want to go to the toilet intermittently. Such people have got the tendency to do an intermittent fasting, but that will not correct IBS. IBS is entirely a different modality where the movement disturbance will occur whenever you are stressed. If you feel stress at home or in work, also you might feel the same thing. So fasting will not help you much. Sometimes the bloating sensation which occurs along with IBS might get relieved when you're not eating anything, but then that might aggravate your constipation. So it is always wiser to maintain a good health by eating properly. We should have a 4 to 5 hour. We should have. You can keep your interval between food habits around. You have a breakfast at around 8 o'clock, 7 o'clock. Then you have eat something up after 4 hours, and make sure that your movements of your intestines are maintained. Of course, the diet does matter. And, what you eat should be a very balanced diet. If and that is the best thing for IBS.
Okay.
Fiber content also. Fiber.
Yeah.
Okay, and thank you for that. And I guess what I'm hearing you say, from my understanding, is that for some people with IBS, the intermittent fasting may give them what sounds like temporary relief simply because they're not eating food. Is that
Exactly.
so? It's not actually curing it in any way. It's just giving you relief from the symptoms itself.
Absolutely. You're absolutely right.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure I was clear about that, because I know that I feel, and I'll ask this and then I'll get to some questions specifically about the services at Healthcity. Is it that this may seem like a weird question, but in your medical opinion, are women disproportionately affected by digestive issues by comparison to men, or is there no science that proves that? Or do men not complain about it?
How, Rutana, when stress comes at home or in work, how does a woman cope up? Can I ask you a question back? Does a man cope up better or a woman copes up better?
I Well, personally, I think women handle stress better, but I could.
I think there is no difference. There is no difference in any digestive condition. There are some conditions, especially some like gallbladder stones or peptic ulcers. Gallbladder stones are more common in women, and peptic ulcer probably is more common in men. Ulcerative colitis is more common in men. There are certain diseases which are more common in men, and certain which are more common in women. I think that you cannot generalize like that.
Okay, got it. I think that was helpful. And I can see how that would be. It's not necessarily that women on a whole or men on a whole suffer any more than the other gender in terms of digestive issues, but there are certain digestive issues and diseases that are more prevalent in men and or women. Fair enough. I can accept that. So to go to Healthcity itself, Dr. Deepak, although this is not your first time with us, it's been a little while, I think, since we've been on the show together. So I would like for you to share with the listening audience and the watching audience once again, what you do at Healthcity, and what your larger team does as well, so that they can, for those who may not know you well, put you into context.
Yeah. I have joined Healthcity one year back, last 2019 February. So from there, actually, there was no services which were providing surgical care or surgical services for liver and pancreas. So from there, from last February, that is 2019 February, we have started hepatopancreatobiliary, that is liver, pancreas, and advanced bile duct or biliary system related diseases can be dealt with. Now, with Sunil coming along with us, we have a skillful endoscopist who can deal with not only diagnostic endoscopies but therapeutic endoscopy like ERCP. ERCP is a modality of endoscopy which gets into the bile duct. Bile duct is the duct which comes into the small intestine, and the bile flows from the gallbladder into the small intestine when we eat food and help digesting fat. So there are bile duct stones and gallbladder stones are very common. You can get tumors in the bile duct. You can get cancers in the vicinity of the small intestine, vicinity of the bile duct where it opens into the small intestine. All these things can be either to palliate symptoms or to diagnose, or sometimes to reduce jaundice or to remove stones. We something called ERCP is done. That is getting into the bile duct and removing the stones or relieving the jaundice. That is one thing our island has got now with Sunil coming here. And another thing is called endoscopic ultrasound, which helps in diagnosing not only abdominal like pancreatic diseases, but even in the chest, like if you have some lymph nodes in the area near esophagus, we can get biopsies through the endoscope. No need to open the chest and go in and remove the lymph node to get the biopsy. And in some cases, like advanced cancers, you can palliate the pain through the endoscopic ultrasound. So actually the spectrum of services which with Sunil's presence can give has become very big actually.
Okay, so you by bringing Dr. Sunil on board, you've definitely expanded the services in the Digestive Sciences Department of Healthcity. And my understanding is that with this addition, along with and Shomari, I'd like you to chime in here as soon as I finish my thought. But with his addition and what I have heard are the addition of new gadgets and gizmos and technologies to the hospital within the next few months, you are essentially launching a full digestive sciences or services institute within Healthcity. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct, Ruth Anna. I was about to say Youth Anna, right? Mixing your last name and your first name.
I'll take it.
But definitely, as you know, what Healthcity always does is look at what gaps exist, whether in the Cayman Islands, Caribbean region, or within this hemisphere, and always provide that next level of service as well as of access to physician that otherwise wouldn't be available. So when Dr. Deepak was speaking about, the fact that he does liver surgery and pancreatic surgery, never done before on island, and now we have him. And then obviously he would tell us exactly what is needed in order to round out that institute. And we're very, very, very lucky to be able to get a Dr. Sunil to also join Dr. Deepak. When you understand the level of physicians that a Dr. Deepak and a Dr. Sunil actually, what they are, it's always interesting, the fact that they believe in our vision, believe in the great work that we're doing here, obviously believe in what we're going to do in the Cayman Islands, but also bringing in persons from outside and take that leap of faith to come to a place. And I'm sure Dr. Sunil probably would know more about Cayman based on Dr. Deepak and otherwise. But think about the physicians when they first came. Nobody knew about Cayman, at least from those circles at that point in time. And you couldn't see Cayman really on a map, and we're taking that leap with their skill set being, some of the best from a country of the best when it comes to physicians. So we're very lucky to have them here. And as I was mentioning to you prior to getting onto the program, we have other countries that are just waiting for us to open back up to be able to utilize the Digestive Sciences Institute that we have here at Healthcity. And Dr. Deepak, right as he came, just an indication of the fact that timing is also great, but think about how many people could have been saved previously. There was last year at Badabanu an incident where, unfortunately,
I don't want you to tell that story yet, because I don't want your story to get cut. I know where the story's going.
You're going to break, yes.
But I want you to hang on to that story. And I want you to tell a story as soon as we come back from the break. But I will say that Alric Lindsay, who is tuned in via Facebook, says Youth Anna sounds accurate. So he's in agreement with them. The adjusted name. So I'll accept that. I'll take it. That's one of the few times I will accept any kind of amendments to my name, if only temporarily. But guys, it is 5:33 on the Star 92.7 clock, which means we are going out to our first break of our time together. We'll be gone for about 2 minutes only. And when I come back, I will be continuing my conversation with these fine gentlemen from Healthcity, Cayman Islands, Shomari Scott, Dr. Deepak, Dr. Sunil, who are in studio with me talking about the Digestive Sciences Institute at Healthcity, Cayman Islands. Please keep it locked for some more Straight Talk on Star 92.7. We'll be right back after the break.
The phone lines are now open. 943-3700. You can also find us on Facebook or email us at straighttalkci@gmail.com.
Don't let the actions of the few continue to impact the majority. If you know someone who is taking unnecessary risks with social distancing and curfews, talk to them. Remind your siblings, children, parents, and friends of the importance of social distancing. We will all get through these challenging times. All together. Hashtag stay home.
We deeply care about our students and understand the challenges you may now face during these unprecedented times.
We want you to know that we are ensuring that your child's
and that you are not alone. We are doing everything we can to make sure no child is left behind.
But to do so, to get connected and stay connected with you and your child. So reach out to us and speak with us
about how we can best support you and your needs. Working hand in hand with you is the only way to secure our children's future.
We are in this together.
A message from the Creek and Spot Bay, East End, Prospect, Red Bay, and Sir John A. Cumber Schools.
Digital banking, online, RBC. RBC Banking Online. Pay your bills anytime.
RBC Digital Banking is so easy. Even Granny and Granddad can do it. Sign up for online banking or download the RBC Caribbean app.
With RBC, it's safe and easy. Send your money hassle-free. RBC.
Visit rbc.com/Caribbean/bank at home. RBC Royal Bank. Banking reimagined.
Flow continues to keep your family connected by bringing you the fastest speeds and best price. Last year, we brought you the Hero Plan. This year, we introduce you to the Super Hero Plan. Get our Super Hero Plan with 200 megabytes of broadband and TV watch all for only $200 per month. Are you a new customer? Get the first month free when you sign up by July 3rd. Visit discoverflow.ky/hero for details. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Flow Cayman Islands. Terms and conditions apply. Flow, you deserve the best.
Welcome back to Straight Talk with Ruth Anna on Star 927.
We are back, folks, and you are tuned in to Straight Talk, brought to you exclusively by Star 92.7 Premium Radio. I am your host, Ruth Anna Young, with you until 6 o'clock this evening. Today is Monday, which means it is Medical Monday, brought to you by our partners at Healthcity, Cayman Islands. I am joined in studio this afternoon by Dr. Deepak, Dr. Sunil, and Mr. Shomari Scott. They will be with me until 6 o'clock. Well, Shomari's will leave us in about 15 minutes from now. He's leaving us a little bit earlier, but Sunil and Dr. Deepak will be with me until 6 o'clock this evening. And so 943-3700 is the line in studio. You can also WhatsApp me 324-1565, or you can also email me at straighttalkci@gmail.com. And Shomari, let's go right to your story. You were about to tell an incredible story that I want to make sure didn't get cut in half. So if you could just please dive right into that story about Dr. Deepak and I guess what was his baptism by fire in the Cayman Islands.
Definitely. And just to mention, this will be the first time I'm leaving you early, Ruth Anna.
I give
and it's because I have another 6 p.m. Not more important than you guys, but, with technology, you have to make sure it works, right? So
I got you. No worries. I think these two gentlemen have it.
Don't worry. They're in good hands. Good hands.
Thank you.
But definitely, Ruth Anna. So Dr. Deepak would have arrived, and I can't remember if it was a week and a half, or 2 weeks, but it was very shortly after he arrived. There was a gentleman that unfortunately got stabbed at Badabanu. Persons may remember, but he was stabbed in the liver region, and he first went to HSA, did a great job, and then he had to actually come to us. And based on the injury, if Dr. Deepak wasn't here, even with an air ambulance, there was very minimal chance of survival. And that young man is walking around and full of life now because of Dr. Deepak. And we even did a video about it that I'll send to you so you can watch it and see for yourself, Ruth Anna. But that just shows you the level of physician that we have at Healthcity, and the fact that that's just one story of many whereby we would have either saved lives or persons would have a better standard of life due to the expertise that we have at Healthcity. And that's why, once again, we're very lucky to have physicians like Dr. Deepak and Dr. Sunil here with us.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that story. And I want to, Albert Lindsay, before the break, and I think I may have answered this, but I want to check in with you. So Albert Lindsay before the break says on Facebook, with all these specialists, sounds like a great place for Caymanian doctors to train. Now, I did respond to it, but I wanted to make sure I was clear on it. One of the things that I know we've spoken about in the past, Shomari, is the fact that Healthcity has sent students, Caymanian students studying medicine, for example, to intern for certain periods in the parent facilities in India. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that to be the case, and to my knowledge, there are other opportunities for them to train within the facility as well.
Definitely, and I'll have a conversation with Albert, kind of offline as well. But just to mention that our Healthcare Explorers program, since inception 5 years ago, has had over 7,300 student interactions in regards to our products, whether it's interning, shadow a doctor, webinars, Learn Your Heart. Our actual videos, for instance, Know Your Brain, Know Your Heart, we work with the high schools as well as the primary schools, and it's now become a part of some of the curriculum in science classes in order to watch and answer based on a Dr. Benoit, dissecting a pig's heart to show you what the inside of an actual human heart looks like. And this past year, we would have had more interactions in our products than all 4 years combined. And last year, we had more than the first 3 years combined. So you can tell the amount of work that we've been doing in that space. But that's a whole program in and of itself, and I don't want to take up the time with that. But we're definitely doing our part to try and actually get Caymanians to be interested in medicine. And there is a young man who actually wanted to be a pilot, came through our shadow a doctor, saw a surgery, changed tracks, and he's now in pre-med and always comes to look for us when he comes back.
That's awesome. I'm excited by that opportunity. I do have a caller on the line. Let me go to the phone lines. Welcome, welcome to Straight Talk. What's on your mind today?
Good evening, Rutana.
Hi, how are you?
All right, how are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. How can I be of service to you? What's on your mind today?
No, you have open line or no?
I have Medical Monday today.
Oh,
Yeah.
have a good medical Monday. I'll call you on Wednesday.
Yes, Wednesday sounds about right. All right, sounds good. Okay,
Thank
cool. All right, thank you to the callers. Good to hear from you. But I think what he wanted to ask was not necessarily relevant to Medical Monday. And so I want to continue on in this conversation. Now, I think many of us, and we've heard it, for example, both of you, Dr. Sunil, Dr. Deepak, have mentioned things like liver, pancreas, those sorts of things. There are many, many things that we don't associate. I say we, as in non-medical professionals, the layman out here. There are many things that we do not associate with digestive services or the digestive sciences within the medical field. If both of you could share with the listening public, what are some of, and I know this may be hard for you to think of as a doctor, right? But remind us when you say digestive services and the things that you guys do. When we hear digestion, most of us are limited to a thought about our stomach, right? And some may also tie in, in terms of intestines and that aspect of it. But many of us, to be truthful, do not associate things like the liver and pancreas, I guess, as part of our digestive system. Naturally, we may know, if we think about it, we may know that. But I think it's important for people to understand essentially all the organs and that are covered on the digestive services, because I think it is far too often to forget that it goes beyond our tummy. And in larger extent, the intestines. But what else? What is digestive sciences covers? What gamut of organs, within our bodies?
Rutana, when you take the gastrointestinal tract from mouth to the anus, from mouth to the anus, that is around 6 meters, 7 meters long. That is our field. The liver, the bile duct, the pancreas, that is called the hepatobiliary system. This is outside the gastrointestinal tract. That is our field. So you might call it from the rib to the hip and from the mouth to the anus. Both are our field. Okay. Yeah.
So, actually, the liver and pancreas are organs which help digestion. They produce enzymes. They produce certain something like bile, which is produced in the liver and stored in the gallbladder, is helpful to digest fat. Pancreas produces a lot of enzymes which help in digesting fat as well as proteins and even starch. And pancreas, as we know, it produces insulin and glucagon, which causes the balance of blood sugar levels. So, these are generally the functions of liver and pancreas. So we deal with the diseases which involve either right from the esophagus to anus, and this is called luminal gastroenterology, or which those structures which has got some lumen inside, like stomach, intestine, esophagus, large intestine, and all. And extraluminal is liver, pancreas, and spleen, which is not which doesn't come directly into the digestive system, but spleen also is an abdominal organ. So we actually take care of all the problems associated with these organs.
Okay, and thank you both for shedding light on that, because I know that even when I think about the gallbladder, had I not had specific experience with someone who was close to me, and them needing to, have their gallbladder removed after years of being stubborn. I will say, they had been advised for years prior to remove it, and then she eventually did decide to remove the gallbladder when it became unbearable, right? Um, Without that experience, I would not have been able to appreciate um, how critical that is in terms of digestion, and even now her having to limit her fat intake, and the reaction her body has when she eats something too fatty and those sorts of things. And so I think, unless a lot of times, unless we have like personal experiences like that with it, we often don't, we may know that things in our tummy area are bothering us, but especially as women, sometimes it can be a bit confusing as to, who do we talk to, which doctors do we go to, who deals with this, right? And so, if what are some of the ordinarily, would someone, if they're having stomach issues, go to a GP first and then get a referral to one of you as specialist, or are there symptoms that someone could be experiencing that would be like kind of significant to us, for us to say, hold on, wait, I think I need to go and see someone who specializes in digestive issues? Like, where would someone start with all of that?
If you have a symptom, let's start from this, with the organs concerned. As Dr. Deepak mentioned, you have the esophagus, that is a food pipe. Any symptom with the food pipe will be a difficulty in swallowing. So if you have a difficulty in swallowing, something is getting stuck up when you're eating, something is refluxing back when you're eating, that is related to the esophagus and the food pipe. Once food is taken in, you get a pain in the abdomen, either on empty stomach or when the food is taken in, when you're feeling a pain in the abdomen and it's lasting long, then you have to consult a gastroenterologist. Suppose you have vomiting continuously. Suppose you have diarrhea. Suppose you have pain persisting for a long time, pain in the front radiating to the back, pain in the flanks where you need to go to the toilet intermittently. So these are symptoms which we handle. If you find blood and stools, if you find that the person is constipated recently with blood and stools, with pain, again, we have to look into the intestinal tract. So the stomach, the small intestine, the large intestine, they all give rise to different kinds of symptoms. But generally, it will be related to food, bowel movement, abdominal pain. All these things will be there. Now consider the liver. When you're considering the liver, jaundice and pain is one symptom which is more pertaining to the liver. If the person's urine is discolored yellow, if the eyes are turning yellow, you're having pain in the right side under the rib margin. So that is more related to the liver and the gallbladder.
I want to ask a question about jaundice, but I know Shomari has to leave us very shortly. And before I ask my question about jaundice, I will ask you, Shomari, for final thoughts from you, and just reminders of how people can reach out to Healthcity should they need to get in contact with you guys. I'll be sure to share that information as well before we close out the show. So final thoughts from you before you leave us.
No, definitely. And one thing that we've been reiterating, as persons in the medical industry, is that any pain or any discomfort that would usually in a regular time frame cause you to present yourself to a hospital or to call, please still do the calling to make sure. A lot of persons have heard only emergencies, and in this time period before elective surgeries and the such open up, persons have been neglecting the signals that their body is telling them because they think it's only emergencies. But only the medical professionals can know how urgent it is. So please definitely reach out if there's any discomfort that would tell you need to call or actually present yourself. So 640-4040 info@healthcity.ky. We also have teleconsult at healthcity.ky, but once you either call or go through info, if it needs to be a teleconsult, we'll make sure that that happens. And all the information is on our website, healthcity.ky.
Awesome.
Thank you all.
Thank you so much. I will.
Thank you, Shomari.
Oh, no problem. No problem. Thank
Next
you all.
Monday. Please enjoy the rest of your afternoon. Thank you as always for joining us. I will go ahead and ask my questions to Dr. Sunil and Dr. Deepak. So I will go right back to it. So both of you, I think, at different times have mentioned jaundice, right? Many of us associate jaundice only with babies, for example. What exactly is jaundice?
In the blood, there is something called bilirubin. Bilirubin is a component of the blood plasma. It's a chemical compound. It's yellow in color. The level of bilirubin in blood is generally 1 milligram. Suppose it goes above that to 2, 3, 4, above 2, your eyes turn yellow. Above 2, your urine tends to get colored yellow. So this condition where the bilirubin goes above 2 milligram is called jaundice.
Okay.
So,
and it's not just in babies.
Yeah, in babies, what happens is bilirubin has got different sources. It comes from the liver, it comes from the blood cells, RBCs. So in a newborn, the RBC counts come down rapidly because they are born with a hemoglobin of 17 and 18, and inside the womb it's okay, but outside you don't need so much. So rapid destruction of the red blood cells occur after you're born. That brings out a lot of bilirubin. Now this bilirubin has got to be metabolized. That is why we put them under the blue light, make sure that they have the early morning light, make sure that this bilirubin is converted out and goes out from the body. So the bilirubin or the neonatal jaundice is entirely different from the jaundice we and myself and Deepak handle. The adult jaundice is totally different.
Okay.
Adult jaundice is either a liver infection where the liver function is gone, or the bile flow from the liver is affected. The bile flows through tubes. It comes through channels like we collect even our sewage. It comes as small channels, goes into bigger channels, and then come into the intestine. Now, if these channels are blocked somewhere, for example, a cancer blocks it, a stone blocks it, then you get the bilirubin count comes up in the blood because it's not flowing. That jaundice is the one which we handle. So jaundice are different types. So then you get something called viral hepatitis type of jaundice from food infection. You get hepatitis B, hepatitis C. You get alcohol related. Such jaundice are more of liver cellular damage. There is no obstruction to the bile flow, but the liver cells are getting damaged, so the bile accumulates in the blood. So you get jaundice again. So there are different kinds of jaundice. You have to differentiate the jaundice and then treat. So let us call it the medical jaundice and the surgical jaundice. So simple to analyze.
Okay.
So the surgical ones are handled by Deepak and myself. The medical ones, myself and all the physicians handle it.
Okay. And so, because I went the minute you mentioned it, honestly, I had only ever heard about jaundice in babies, and I think that's where many of us associate jaundice with. So it was insightful for me to understand that is something that can develop, albeit for a different reason. But it's something that can develop in adults as well, because I'll steal a moment here to ask, why is it that, from my understanding, smaller babies are more likely, it seems, to get jaundice?
The reason is, I understand your question. If they are born earlier, if they are born, like, for example, 7-month baby, 8-month babies, they get jaundice earlier. The reason is the liver. The liver has got a capacity. You have to understand, you'll have to go back into the basic chemistry a bit. So let's go back to our schooling. Let's see what happens to the bilirubin. Bilirubin has two forms. One is a soluble one, the other is an insoluble one. So it's to make it simple. So the insoluble one comes to the liver. The liver takes it up, makes it soluble, and sends it down into the GI tract through the bile ducts.
Yes.
It's as simple as that. Now, this capacity is low when the child is born early or is small. So it takes time for the jaundice to settle down if the child is small or premature.
Okay, I got it.
Okay, right.
Okay, thank you very much. And so we have about 4 minutes until 6 o'clock. So what I would like to do is, starting with you, Dr. Deepak, if you could just remind the listening public, as Healthcity moves towards rolling out their full Digestive Sciences Institute within Healthcity. You are upgrading and adding, additional world-class equipment and new gadgets and gizmos to better serve us. Just a reminder to the audience, what are some of the scope of services that will be offered in the Digestive Sciences Institute at Healthcity Cayman Islands? Just to recap that before we close out the show.
Basically, what we have achieved now is that we have become a team rather than a single individual. And we are able to handle even complex pancreatic, liver and bile duct diseases. We are getting new gadgets in endoscopy and even in surgery, like we are getting new instruments for minimally invasive surgeries. We'll be able to do more of advanced laparoscopic surgeries to deal with diseases of the pancreas, liver, large intestine. The major highlight of this introducing Dr. Sunil Dr. Sunil joining us is that a surgeon alone is many times it's difficult to work, because there may be complications after procedures, and you require an endoscopist to help you out or to bail you out of these situations. So now what we have got is that we, both of us, can work as complementary, and we can give more advanced and more world-class healthcare facility of any diseases pertaining to the digestive tract.
Got it. And so it's a more complete suite of services being offered at Healthcity Cayman Islands. They're at their Digestive Sciences Institute. And Dr. Sunil, if you could, for me, just give final thoughts, and then I'll remind everyone how to contact Healthcity should they need to contact you before closing out the show.
Any medical practice nowadays is a complementary practice. I would say that nobody can practice alone. So in medical gastroenterology, when we do all these advanced procedures, we need the surgeon to give us a backup. And then for the surgical side, the medical gastroenterologist is a great boon. So in combination, we can treat a lot of conditions which are probably innate to the island, where probably they had to go abroad, either to US or the mainlands, to get the treatment. These things can be done here now. So we have the expertise and probably the experience also. It is just not the gadgetry alone. We have to work with it for some time.
The gadgets don't operate themselves, right?
Yeah, true. The skill is also there. So I believe that between both of us, we are happy to be together also. In fact, we have worked together before, and it is so nice that we could work now in a beautiful setting, and with a lot of quality of work to be put in Healthcity. So I should thank Rutana for having given such a lovely introduction to Cayman Islands. It is nice. Let's hope the relation lasts long enough.
Absolutely. And welcome, welcome. This is my first official welcome to you to the Cayman Islands. Thank you for joining me this afternoon. I know this is your first interview. I doubt it will be your last. Dr. Deepak, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon as well, and to share about the expanding services at Healthcity in terms of digestive sciences. And just a reminder to the listening public, if you need to reach out to Healthcity, if you need to call to ask questions, book an appointment, please remember you can reach them at 640-4040, or you can email them at info@healthcity.ky. And also, if you need to do a teleconsult, they have a specific email for that. You can email them at consult@healthcity.ky, and you can find them on their website at healthcity.ky. Thank you guys very much. That was Medical Monday, brought to you by our partners at Healthcity Cayman Islands. Tomorrow I will have Community Affairs Tuesday as per usual, where I will have members from the Cayman Islands government joining me to talk about tomorrow is going to be the pension update. So they will be, I will have representatives from that department joining me in the virtual studio tomorrow afternoon at 6:02 on the Star 92.7 clock, which means we are out of here, and I'll be back again tomorrow. Thank you all for tuning in, and keep it locked to Star 92.7.
For the island.